What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Replayer Podcast. I'm Dan Morris, your host this week, and of course, with my lovely co-host, Pagan.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Pagan.
Hi.
And joining us this week, we have the lovely Letitia and Hannah.
Hi.
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 Oh, the tiny Hannah with a soft-spoken hi.
Tiny.
Hannah, hey.
Got to stay true to the branding, right?
I feel
Yeah,
like
really
anytime I see Tiny, I see Hannah on chat or anything, I'd be like, Tiny!
Ah!
And then there's just like a wall on chat with like, Tiny's here, Tiny!
It's the most
always
adorable
tiny.
nickname.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
always Tiny.
Blame
It's
Troy
just
for that one.
tiny. It's all
Yeah,
Troy.
but like it'll be flooded in big letters. So it's tiny, but in massive letters. So I find
I
that
love
quite
it.
funny.
I swear to God, every single time we talk, I'm so reminded of like when we were in Manchester and you came up and Troy saw you and he was like, where have you
Where have you
been?
been all day? I
Like,
know.
where have you been all day? You were like, I'm sorry. And you're so small next to him as well. He's so tall.
I know.
Oh, that was great.
Crazy.
Good
I mean,
times.
Troy's
Good
tall
times.
compared to a lot of people, so
It's true. It's very true.
I think he's like a whole foot taller than
Yeah.
me or something stupid like
say-
that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never met Dan in person, but Dan seems pretty tall.
I'm the same height as Troy.
There you go. See? That's tall.
That's very tall.
Very tall.
You see me next to Brandy, right? Like, wah.
No, actually, I haven't. Because you've both been sitting every time I've seen you. So
But even
I'll-
sitting, like her head's down here. Like it's hard to keep
Nah.
her in frame with me.
Well, yeah, actually a little bit, yeah.
Anyways,
If I was sat next to you right now, I probably would not be on the screen. I'd probably just you'd
like the
see
top of your head would be
at the
like
top.
down
Just
here.
like peeking
That's what it
over.
would be like.
Well, anyways, just to get rolling on to meeting our replayer guest this week, Letitia is her first time on the show. Hannah's a return guest, but she wasn't here when we were doing our little replayer questionnaire. So I'm going to get right into it. We're going to ask some questions. I'm going to throw out the question, and then I'll ask each of you to answer, and we'll go back and forth so we can learn a little bit about you guys. So first question is, what's your introduction to gaming? Like, where was the first time you played a game or where you really started getting into gaming? And I think we'll start with Letitia on this one.
Ooh, okay. But like back when I was sort of about like 4 or 5 years old, I'd sort of go to my cousin's house a lot, and he would be playing like a lot of the Sonic and Mario games, and like we'd have a lot of fun. Like I wasn't particularly too close to my cousin before that, and it kind of made us more like friends as well as obviously family. And then when my dad moved out, he got a PlayStation 2. And there's a lot of good games on the PlayStation 2. So me and my sister, there are so many. And like me and my sister would go over to his place every weekend. We'd play loads of games, and it was very much a family activity. And sort of since then, because I've enjoyed playing games with my family so much, I'm just like, well, I want to have this experience all the time. So I've been doing that for a
Very
very long time
nice.
now.
That's so
Been doing it ever
sweet.
since.
That is nice.
Nice. So did your family buy you a console after that?
So like back in the day, like we'd have the family PlayStation 2, and then we had the family PlayStation 3. We're PlayStation gamers. And then sort of when I went to it's
pretty-
good console.
Mhm.
And then when I went to uni, I got my own PS4, and it felt kind of weird, like it being my own console and not like the family thing. So I can't sort of message my sister and be like, hey, have you played this cool PS4 game? Oh wait, you don't have one.
Wah, wah.
Because then I'd feel mean. But yeah, PlayStation owns my soul.
All right. So how about you, Hannah?
Preach, sister.
So I feel like the first time I played a game was with my dad because he had one of the NES things, one of the Nintendo Entertainment Systems. I think that's what they're
NES
called.
thing.
Yep,
I
NES.
love how
that
you're
was
like,
NES
The
thing.
thing.
What are they called? But yeah, he had the Super Mario games, so I used to watch him do those, and then I'd be like, let me have a go, and I'd end up killing him by like jumping off the side of the level or something. And then after that, it was just like the sort of family consoles, so like the Wii and stuff like that. And then eventually when I went to high school, I ended up getting an Xbox 360. So I had a few things on that, and I really got into The Walking Dead, Telltale The Walking Dead. So I played all of those, and then I ended up moving on to PlayStation, and I got The Last of Us and the Uncharted stuff, and here we are. We have
Nice.
I'm a PlayStation junkie now.
Yes.
Very
join
good.
The club.
That's why we're here.
Mhm.
So
Thank
question
goodness.
2 then. This might be an easy question because you guys already said it. What's your preferred platform?
I wonder.
Yeah.
After 3. 1, 2, 3. PlayStation.
Yes.
Anyways,
I believe that's 2 for me. Beth, if you're still keeping count.
we'll
That's
see.
2
We'll
more on
see
the
where
board,
you guys all
please.
sit in about a year or so, and then you're gonna be like,
All right, Mr.
Still
Xbox
I'm
Series
kidding.
X.
I say that, but I've been a PlayStation fan my whole life. I just
Yeah.
prefer Xbox now, and I still think the PlayStation 2 is one of the best consoles of all time. I have a massive library of PlayStation 2 games that I
Same.
have fond memories for. So I never truly hate the PlayStation. I just like to give it shit. So, anyways, the next question is: do you have a favorite game? And I know this is a tough one. You can be, if it's hard to be super general or specific, I mean, you can be a little bit more general and kind of say if it's a franchise or give us like your top 3, whatever you can do to narrow it down. And we'll start with Hannah on this one.
It gives me time
Well,
to
I'd
think.
say it's yes. I'd say it's pretty easy for me. It's The Last of Us because that was the first game that I think properly moved me. And when I played that game, I was in like a weird headspace, and there were things that I found in that, like the giraffe moment. There were things like that it made me think like, things are going to be okay. Times may be bad right now. The world may be going to shit, but it's going to be all right. There are good things out there. So that really resonated with me. And yeah, I don't think any other game can beat that.
Nice.
Can
I
beat
just had
that
a
feeling.
I just had a thought I want to ask kind of like to everybody in this moment too, because we've had a lot of female guests on the show. There's a lot of female replayers, and a lot of them say that The Last of Us is one of their favorite games. And I just, in that moment of you talking about it, I started to wonder if it's a father figure to daughter connection thing.
Yeah,
That's
it could be.
interesting.
It could be because it is nice to see that development between Joel and Ellie, but I think it's just really cool as well seeing a strong female character in a game because apart from like Lara Croft, how many others are there? I mean, I'm not too much of a gamer, so I don't know of many. There's probably loads,
There's
but
a lot of
to see
female
like
protagonists out
There's
there, but
definitely a lot of
Yeah.
female protagonists, but I
Yeah.
think there is something.
I don't know.
know.
There's something special about Ellie. I don't know.
Ellie is
special about Ellie.
special, and that relationship that she develops with Joel and the bond that they create. I feel like that speaks very heavily to female gamers. Not to say it didn't to me, but I think it's especially so, and that's why we get so many of our
Yeah.
female replayer guests on here talking about The Last of Us.
Yeah, but I feel like as well because it's like Ashley was saying, she's so proud of this character, and like it's for the outcasts, the misfits, all of that. When she accepted an award for her performance as Ellie in Left Behind,
Saw that.
like that's what I felt like too. I felt like I was the kid that didn't fit in. I was the kid that didn't have many friends. So to sort of have a figure in a game that was kind of like me but more badass, that was cool.
So you personally relate to Ellie on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Understandable. And how
But
about
she's
you,
a lot
Letitia?
cooler.
Because I'm very indecisive, I'm going to say 2. So
Okay.
the first one is probably the Ratchet and Clank series, because
Nice.
that was the series that I grew up with that sort of made me the gamer that I am now. Like the first Ratchet and Clank game was one of the first games that we completed as a family. And then like since then we got every single one on release day and like played them all as a family to see how the series developed. Sounds very personal to me.
It's
and
a
the
very
other one...
acceptable answer because damn, Ratchet and Clank's like one of the best game franchises made, and it's such a gamey game. Like
Such a gamey
can't
game.
beat that. Right.
Yeah, like not like the ungamey games.
Yeah, as opposed to
There's a
those
lot of
guys,
ungamey games nowadays, though. So
I mean, yeah,
Well.
true, but back then. And the other one is the Uncharted series. I live and breathe those games. At university, I was known as the Uncharted girl because I would talk about them nonstop. I have all the platinum trophies in them. I wrote an essay about them when I did a film degree, but I made it work, so it's fine. I'm even wearing the ring. And I've got
Nice.
an Uncharted shirt on as well.
I've noticed, and I was gonna say something, and I thought if I am wrong, like this
Kinda
would be
looks like-
really awkward.
Like,
Yeah, I've got a lot of
Chloe
Uncharted
shirt?
merch.
It
It's
does
just
look
a
like that, yes.
it's just a generic shirt that says Uncharted 4 on it. But
okay.
I like it.
Is it red?
Yes.
Yeah. So
We
it is
can't tell
very
because of your
Chloe
lighting,
with,
so-
with Francis Drake's ring.
Yeah.
Very
It's
nice.
like the red shirt and the dark hair. You remind me of Chloe at the moment.
Same.
Maybe I should cosplay as Chloe someday.
100%. Yes, we are down
doing a
for
good
this.
job
We
right
will
now.
hook you up with Dean. He is an amazing
Yes.
Nathan. Get together.
I actually spoke to Dean not too long ago about doing a cosplay, like when conventions are allowed to be a
Yes.
thing again,
Mm.
because I'm known as Marlo. So I thought we could do a Marlo and Nate kind of standoff.
Oh,
thing.
yes.
It should be
perfect.
That would be cool.
I'm down for
I-
it. Sign me up.
I was
Yeah,
thinking about
Nolan
doing a
knows me,
Nathan,
yes.
Nathan Drake cosplay myself a while back before all the nonsense happened. I was
I
looking into like ordering stuff, and I have like the buckle, I have the necklace, I have all those things already. I was just gonna have to like buy some generic, Drake style clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where are you with that though? Like, are you still interested in doing it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just
So
can't
after the
do
crazy
anything yet.
COVID stuff, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like Nolan knows me as like the Marlo.
I mean, I'm kind of
cosplayer.
close. I'm wearing like a
Oh,
baseball
that's
tee
cool.
right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, Uncharted is very, very special to me for a
Nice.
lot of reasons.
Nice.
Good answers.
Yeah, I was gonna say good answers, everybody. There are
So
no wrong
PlayStation.
answers here, except there definitely is.
There are wrong answers that we
There
get
are wrong answers,
booted
and as
out of
soon
the
as-
chat immediately.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same things. Like you will just
Beat you
be
to
a
it.
cold end.
Just your
Yeah,
camera
you
just
beat me
shuts
to
down.
it. Well done,
My
friend.
favorite game is My Name is Mayo, which is the easiest platinum ever. And all you do is tap a jar of mayo 10,000 times.
Oh my god, I've heard of
Wait,
that.
hold on. Is that an actual game for
That is a
platinum? Because
thing.
I will do it.
You can get it on like the PS4 and the Vita, so you
I
can get 2
only
platinums
have
in one.
One platinum from playing the Telltale games, which I'm super proud of. Obviously, it's super hard to achieve. It's super rare. So yeah, maybe I might
Yeah,
download
only, like,
that Mayo game just to get a
0.00
cheap platinum. Be like,
One people have
for
that
it.
button.
yeah, perfect. Super rare, ultra rare, then. Ultra rare.
Exotic rare.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. The next question we have is, what game or games are you looking forward to that we know of that are coming out? And I'm still going to include The Last of Us as an exclusion. You can't say The Last of Us 2 because I'm giving that as a given. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
we're all excited
we're
for
all
that.
looking
It's
forward to
coming
that
out
game.
in
Yeah.
like 6 weeks' time or whatever.
And we talk about The Last of
Set the
Us
day.
enough on this show. Why don't you kick us off on this one, Letitia?
Oh gosh, most of the games I was excited about in 2020 have kind of already come out, like Doom Eternal and Final Fantasy VII. I would say I'm very intrigued by Cyberpunk though. When I went
Yeah,
to
same here.
EGX, when I went to EGX last year, like I saw their like 45-minute presentation where they're like, here's all this cool stuff in the game. And it made me a lot more interested than I was like back at E3 when they were just showing trailers and stuff. Like it feels like one of those games that you could just sink hours into without realizing. So I'm pretty sold on that at the moment.
Very
Agreed.
cool.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah,
game
it
will be
looks
like
great.
by the next
It
Fallout
does.
3 for me. Like you just lose yourself in it for like 800 hours.
Yeah, I love the
Possibly.
Fallout games too, so we have good taste.
Hannah?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, like my brain was stuck on The Last of Us, so
Yeah.
I'm screwed now.
Yeah.
Poor Hannah. She had like the carpet ripped under her. Like just be like, oh shit,
She's
that was
like,
my
I
answer.
just said The Last of Us was my favorite game. So 2 is clearly my answer.
No, thanks a lot, Dan. But is it Dirt 5 that's coming out? I know.
yeah,
Dirt
towards
5.
the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
year.
That
Yeah.
seems quite interesting. I watched the little trailer on Twitter for that the other day when like Nolan and Troy retweeted it. So
Have you
that
played
seems
any of
quite
the
cool.
Dirt games ever?
I haven't. But
So the only reason you're interested in Dirt 5,
It could genuinely be really interesting for Hannah.
first time
let me
for
give you a
everything.
little
Exactly.
tidbit.
First
I
time
played
for
the
everything.
original Dirt game on Xbox 360 when it was an Xbox exclusive back in like 2006.
I remember that coming out, the Dirt game, the original Dirt game. I'm not a big fan of racers. I suck at anything in a car. That is why I'm not looking forward to playing that Arkham game that has it. Isn't that Arkham Knight, I think, right? With
the Batmobile.
Yeah. Like, no. Don't try and test my coordination with the car. Stop that.
Yeah,
I cannot.
I can't do racing games either. I get
Can't do
way
it.
too
Just-
aggressive.
I'm a fan of racing games. The
Are
funny
you?
thing is, I play a lot of racing games actually.
What? Really?
I'm a secret car nerd. Like I really like cars. I have a motorcycle license too, and I had.
I
a
know this
motorcycle.
about you. I know
So
this about
I
you.
don't
I didn't know that you're a
currently have
card
one.
nerd, though. News to
A
us. So, okay.
little bit. I play a bunch of racing games. I'm really into like the Forza games on Xbox. That trailer for Dirt, when they first showed it on the Inside Xbox preview, I thought was a new Forza game, and then it was like Dirt, and I'm like, oh, it's Dirt. It looks just like the Forza Horizon game. So they basically said, we're gonna do what they're doing.
Well, there you go. If it's working for them, why not, eh?
Pretty
Share
much.
the love.
If anything, it brings a Forza Horizon game to PlayStation, so you guys get to enjoy the joy that is
No.
Forza Horizon.
No, we don't.
Because we clearly sound interested in
Yeah.
racing games.
No, to be fair, I can see where like Hannah is coming from. If it's a new experience and you've never really tried something like that, and to be fair,
Yeah.
the trailer is interesting.
Yeah.
The trailer
I'll
is
give
like,
it
It
okay,
looks cool.
if I was into racing games, I'd be like, oh, this is exciting. But I am not.
Mm.
I am more
Like the-
like Ghost of Tsushima. Yes.
Yeah. The closest thing I've seen to that is like Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing, which are like the basic things. So
Yeah.
something like this is
Yeah.
new for me. It's not new for many people, but it's new for me because I don't
Yeah.
play a lot.
Well, that's
Mm.
good, Hannah. It gives you something to like look forward to. That's a new experience completely.
Mm-hmm.
I will say something that game is doing that's unique was the whole notion that Troy is going to be a protagonist in the game, and Nolan is going to be an antagonist.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of rivalry situation that they're establishing for a narrative within that game, on top of the fact that it's a rallycross dirt racing game.
Yeah.
Nice.
Looks really good.
Mm.
So pretty interesting. So last question for you guys. I'm going to alter this slightly a little bit. What game would you like to see played in retro replay, like when they're back on the couch, or if they ever do it from a virtual standpoint? So think of what you generally see on retro replay for what the guys are generally playing.
Ooh, that's a really tough one.
It is. It's
Yeah,
a
it
very tough
is.
question, to be fair.
Because a lot of the stuff they play is older than me. So I
True.
don't
True
know
that.
about it.
Well,
Is there
gotta-
anything from your childhood that you'd like to see them play? Like, do you remember playing anything PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era?
It could
that
be
you're like,
PlayStation 2. It could be
Nah.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
it
I
is.
didn't-
Wii
Yeah.
or GameCube.
Yeah, I didn't have any of that. So, oh god, I don't know.
God,
Hannah,
just
if
thinking
you
about
if you don't somehow have something from like the childhood era, like from PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1, if you have something that's like 3 or 4 that you think they'll probably enjoy playing on the show, or something that you'd like to see like Nolan or Liam or someone new play on the show, is there something that you'd like to see them do?
I don't know, because the only sort of thing that I used to play as a kid was like all the Mario games.
That's
Other than
great.
Other than that, it was like a WWE wrestling thing that I played with my
Conchata is
dad.
screaming right now. She's like,
Like,
yes!
which wrestling, like old school Nintendo wrestling games.
Yeah.
Well, they played that,
Nice.
so yeah. I mean, they could play more wrestling
Yeah.
games on there.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
just
there we go,
Mario
we'll go
Kart
with
or
that.
something like that is perfect.
Yeah, that would be quite fun actually. One of the old Mario Karts.
Yeah.
Like SNES Mario Kart.
Yeah,
Perfect answer to me.
there we go.
Fantastic.
I
We vamp enough for you, Letitia. What do you got?
Yeah.
Like I know it'd be a weird kind of thing to play just because of how long the games are, but I'd really want to see them play a Pokemon game. I'd be interested to sort of see if there'd be any kind of strategy, or if it would just be a case of attacking the other Pokemon until something happens.
I'd go
don't
with
know,
the
I'd be
latter.
fascinated.
Because I'm playing Pokemon Let's Go, I'm so for this answer. Yes. All
It'd be
good.
interesting, like, because I remember sort of the Pokemon game that I put the most time into as a kid was Leaf Green, and like I strategized so much with that game, and then now I'm just like, well, I know all the Pokemon like the back of my hand, so I
It
know
had to be
what to
Leaf
do
Green.
already. But like back then, I'd make notes of like all the type advantages and disadvantages, and like, okay, so I need these specific moves for this Pokemon, and blah blah blah. but now I'm just like, eh.
I'm definitely like Pokemon in terms of the Indigo League and Pokemon Yellow. Like,
yes, I have
that's
so many memories
great.
of Yellow.
I like when there was only 150 Pokemon, I was all for this. Then they started introducing more and more, and I was like, but there was only 150. I don't understand. And then it just got too much, and like stuff just starts to look silly. Like now I'm playing like Pokemon Let's Go and Pokemon Go, and I got the app first. I caught a Pokemon that looks like freaking one of the heads off Easter Island, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, this is where you've got to now. This is what you've done to yourself."
Pagan, have you
expanded
seen
past 150?
There's a Pokemon in the new games for Switch, Sword and Shield. There's a Pokemon that's themed after Strawberry Shortcake. It's basically a pile of whipped cream.
Like, come on.
God. There's a teapot
Come
Pokemon
on.
as well because it's set in Britain, and I love it. It's so cute. I'm not joking. There's a teapot Pokemon. Look at it. It's adorable.
I just think like they went too far. There's 150 Pokemon. That was perfect. They each had sounds. They each had names. There was a rap at the end of every episode. It's great. It is a flawless
you're going
system.
old school cartoon, everything.
Old school cartoon. It's on Netflix. Rewatching the Indigo League without any shame. I fucking love it.
The old
I have
series.
cried. Holy crap! I was watching it the other day, and I was not expecting. Like, I came across like the Charmander episode, and then shortly afterwards is like
oh my god, that
Butterfree.
Charmander episode.
Dude,
no, the Butterfree one destroys me every time.
The emotions. I'm so sad. And the Butterfree one especially, because they do a little montage at the end of like the 3 episodes Butterfly, Butterfree and Caterpie has like been involved in. And I was like,
yep.
I'm okay. I'm going to keep it together.
Like, because I know the voice actress who was the original Ash. Like, I talked to her like so much about it. I'm just like, listen, as a child, the Butterfree episode broke my heart. As an adult, it still breaks my heart just as
all of it breaks my heart, honestly. It's just
still broken.
Yeah.
Anytime Pikachu looks like he's gonna faint or something, or like at the end of battle where like Ash has to rush in and be like, no, that's so sad. I'm like, oh my gosh, get him to a Pokemon Center, please. I'm way too involved. Anyway, I'm loving the answer. Thank you very much for that.
I'm wondering if Hannah's lost because she's just like,
yeah, I know nothing about Pokemon. I'm sorry.
Hannah, do you have Netflix?
I do.
Indigo League, Pokemon. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Pokemon Indigo League is so great.
There we go. That's my homework.
15, 20-minute episodes. I got you.
Yeah, everything else after that, it gets way too crazy.
It gets really weird. So
like a bajillion episodes.
I was going to say
and
for
like
Letitia,
1,000 Pokemon.
You had to say Leaf Green because I literally have a Game Boy on my shelf here with Leaf Green in it. It's one of the only Pokemon games that I've ever really played. I've played a bunch of Pokemon games, but I usually don't get into them. I usually drop off after a couple hours. Like, okay, yep, it's a Pokemon game. I'm bored now. I had actually started playing Leaf Green like 2 or 3 years ago, and I got really into it for a while. And I don't know, I was like, I could like maybe 30 hours into it, and then I had like a gaming session of playing for like a few hours and got like a bunch of levels for my main, which I think was Bulbasaur.
Yes, Bulbasaur team.
Yeah.
And having a Game Boy Advance SP, you can close it and it goes into sleep mode. And I put it down and forgot about it, and I came back and it was dead.
No.
So I charged it up and turned it on and lost like 6 hours worth of playing.
Oh,
and I was like,
no,
I'm done playing again. Yay.
I have a worse story about that. I had Pokemon Emerald and played through like the whole game, got to Elite Four, I got the legendary, so that's pretty cool. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wipe the floor with this one legendary. Didn't realize that the Game Boy was running out of battery, so I was like, okay, I'll quickly save it so then it doesn't like cut out and everything will be fine. Power turned off while I was saving, so I lost I lost my entire game.
So it corrupted the whole save file.
Yeah. So when I booted it back up, it was like new game. I was like, but I put so much work into this.
This has happened to me mid save and just dies, and you're like,
yeah.
no.
It's brutal.
Infuriating. Oh.
And I've not touched the game since because I had such a good team.
Yep.
I had a Pokemon that had a move that normally that kind of Pokemon doesn't have, and it was great. And then it's lost.
We haven't gone down a Pokemon tunnel like this since James was on the show.
I know.
Oh, we can go deeper if you want.
James
No, we need to get moving on.
James was the
Good,
opposite.
Pokemon's
so,
good.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a side episode for Pokemon, which Pagan can run because I'm not that
Fine.
big on Pokemon.
Yes.
I'm
the Pokemon
I'm
episode.
okay with this. As long as it's the original Indigo 150 version, then we're fine.
Perfect.
You start coming at me with chikorritas or something, I'm like, no.
All the
the one
different,
right
all the
after.
monkeys, the slightly different
Yeah.
named monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like ages down the line. That's like Gen 5.
I have no idea. Neither does Hannah. So let's move on to
I have
Oh,
no
poor
clue.
Hannah.
Uncle
It's
Noli.
okay.
Yeah, we'll behave
Yay,
now.
something you do know. Uncle Noli.
Hannah knows because Uncle Noli told us. He filled us all full of Tiny Hannah knows.
I'm stealing
Tiny
your bit.
Hannah, give us your advice for this week. What does Tiny Hannah know?
Oh God! Don't go outside. Stay at home. I know we gotta stick together in these times, but from a distance.
Perfect.
Stick
seen a lot of
together, but
people
you're
have-
apart.
Yeah, we're in this
Perfect.
together, but you've got to stay apart.
Stay together
seen a lot of
from a
people-
distance.
Yep.
Like it.
Brilliant.
So you guys have both seen this week's episode of Uncle Noli, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Sweet. Did you have a favorite moment from this episode?
I really liked the very last question, like about the black
Same.
hole, and then just the silence
The
with
silence.
the smirk at the camera. And I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I know what you're thinking. Because I'm thinking the
Same.
same. And it made me realize how dirty my mind can be.
As soon as he read that question out, I was like,
Oh no.
where is this going? And then it went somewhere completely amazing as well. I'm like,
Yep.
Like the inner Noli in all of us.
yeah.
How about you, Hannah? Did you have a favorite moment?
Pagan, did he answer your question this week?
He
did.
did.
Yeah, I quite like that. I thought that was quite funny.
It was cute. It was,
Yeah, it
it
was.
was cute. Yeah.
Well,
I
I
was
don't know
honestly
whether-
trying to find a question that would, like, I don't know, inspire something funny. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is good advice. This is really good advice.
But you guys, but when I hear someone like from the community that I know, I'm just like, hey, that's my friend. But then when I heard the advice he was giving, I was just like, oh God, no.
So would you? I was going to mention, of course, we had our own Pagan had her question answered on this week's episode of Uncle Noli Knows. Is that
Yeah,
your
it's so
favorite
funny.
one from this episode, Pagan?
I mean, Nolan drops good advice among joke questions. And this week, like, mine was one of the really good advice. And I was like, oh, this is good advice.
It's pretty solid.
I thought he was gonna be like, jump off the wardrobe and get a good landing or some shit. Like, that's what I thought he was gonna go. And he was like totally logical and was like, the sleep of the dead. And
Yeah,
then
that was good. And then
Bang
where
over
it ended,
eggs.
I was just like, no.
bang over eggs and the next have room service and have sex. Will do, Uncle Noli, will do. But the laugh of the episode came from the last question from DJ Wezzy. Shout out to
Yeah.
DJ Wezzy, man. That was a funny fucking question. What is a black hole? And because it's a legit question as well. It's just because of the context of the show makes it so naughty, and you're like, don't
Yeah,
do
just
it
automatically. And then I feel like that was the first time for an Uncle Noli moment we got different music because it's usually his usual
Yeah.
jazz. And that one was like it went to like that classical music while he just stares dead on into the camera. Like that was just perfect.
It actually reminded me of a moment in one of the other episodes where, like, I think Troy said something and Nolan picked it up really dirty, and he just like silently turned to the camera and was just like, like, and we all got it. Everybody
Oh, yeah.
understood what he was talking about. So this was that kind of moment where I was like, but I enjoyed that he turned it around to make it a Dublin joke. So good job, Uncle Noli.
If I had to choose a favorite moment, I'm a little stuck between two, and they're actually not so much jokes in the sense of just like fucking random things that just make you laugh. Like one was the DJ Wezzy part where he's like, I just plugged your YouTube channel. Dick. Like that broke me for a good minute. And the other one was when he was talking about peeing in the shower.
Yeah.
It's funny that a little insight to my personal life. I had a similar conversation not too long ago. And I happened to reference about like trying to go to the bathroom. I can't remember. And like how if you're not careful, you turn into like one of those bobbing birds with the water cups, having to try to pee in the toilet. I'll leave the rest to your imagination.
For Hannah is just like,
Oh.
oh my
Sorry.
God. I can imagine though, right? I actually do think that like it must be super hard, no pun intended, but also pun
But
intended, to pee with with an erection. Because look at ladies, I don't know if you're all feeling me on this, but sometimes after we have sex and you gotta go pee, you're there for a while being like, when will my body remember how to do this? Like I've definitely been like, why can't I remember how to pee? It's because everything's like really tight up there. You're like, it's just not coming. I guess I'll just have to wait.
This went a very different direction than I expected. So
well, look, we're here now. Thank you, Uncle Nolan.
but Uncle Noli does. But actually, the part to me that I thought was funniest was just at the end of that where he's just like, piss.
Yeah.
All right, Noli.
Just sum it up in one word.
Yep.
Piss.
And
Excellent.
I apologize, Hannah, but you hear it all from Noli already anyways, so.
It's
Aw,
fine.
it's okay.
He's already corrupted me.
Phrases you can't say out of context. Like, yeah.
Great. This got way dirtier than I expected, but
It was gonna go worse. I was gonna say title of your sex tape, but I'll move on.
anywho. What do we say? We move on to our very different but very special episode of Retro Replay because they're still in quarantine and they can't get to the studio and
Yes.
they run out of episodes. So we got a fun little episode of just live streaming from Nolan's backyard.
Yay.
Live from Nolan North's
Yay.
backyard and Uncle Noli from quarantine, which was a little rough to start because PJ messed up the mic, but he figured it out eventually.
The
We
fact
heard-
that it was backwards is so funny. Oh God.
When it went
Yep.
upside down was killing me.
I
Yeah.
was laughing out loud to that part. Like, this is the best.
It was so perfect. All the little fumbles in that episode honestly just like broke my heart laughing. It was so funny to have like this idea. You're focusing your camera.
I am.
But like the fact that the microphone was backwards when they were upside down, what broke me was like it was upside down for a while. And obviously Nolan and Liam can't see what's happening, so they just presume it's fine.
Is it fixed? Is it fixed? Is it working?
Is it okay?
Is it working?
Oh, it got me good. That was a good one.
Yeah, I just love moments like that because, like, as a content creator as well, like, it's also very relatable. Like, when things go wrong, it's like, how do I move on from this? How do I fix it? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to see how different people like respond to that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, and I just think like they have such a good dynamic and work humor, and they're so chill and everything. But like, oh, that's hilarious!
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you're
because
upside
of
down
that.
for a whole 3 minutes. It's fine. Like, I think that's fantastic because like no one loses their shit. No one's angry about it. It's live content. This is how it goes. It's just funny and like make a joke.
Yeah, they don't see it as a screw up like no one else
No.
does either because we're
No.
just like, this is funny. We just go with it.
Great content. Yep.
Yeah, it's just like an on the fly thing to
Just
work
ultimate
from.
improv Nolan.
We meant to do
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Totally.
Yes.
Did you guys have any favorite moments from that besides the camera debacle?
So for me, Uncharted 3. I have been waiting for that for so long. I cannot wait to see Nolan play it because that game is very, very important to me. And like
Mhm.
whenever I'd go to conventions to see Nolan, like the first thing we talk about would be Uncharted stuff, primarily Uncharted 3. And yeah, it's very important to me. He told me something that he was going to try and do for it that I don't think I'm allowed to say.
Oh.
But Nolan,
Ooh.
if you see this, thank you.
Aw.
If it works, thank you. I love you.
Especially doing it from home, like in quarantine, we'll see if they're
Mm.
able to implement anything that they had planned
Yeah.
originally.
True.
That's what I
Hannah, what about you?
Actually, the whole competition thing, I don't know whether you're going to end up talking about this soon, but the whole
Sure.
competition thing that they mentioned with bringing a replayer to California to film an episode with Nolan, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we were
that
going
was-
to definitely talk about some of all the announcements that they had within the
Yeah.
show. But that was definitely, I'm sure, super exciting for any replayer watching that was like, oh.
Yeah.
Chat went wild. Chat definitely picked up pace. as soon as
Yeah,
that
it was just like
announced.
an elevator that was just going up and up and up.
Everyone was like, "What?"
Oh my god!
That is super interesting announcement. That I was not expecting from the show ever, which is something so strange because like it's not like a super far fetched idea that could never happen. But like I don't know why I was never expecting that kind of announcement from them. So it was super cool, and it's super engaging with the community. You know,
As
it's
awesome as it is,
great.
like on to your point, Pagan, like I can imagine not expecting it, especially because it's like it's been Troy and Nolan on the couch. It's
Yeah.
kind of been like their
Sure.
thing. That's them together. It's we're watching Troy and Nolan playing these games, and now obviously we were upset and had issues with Troy leaving, but now his leaving has kind of opened up that possibility. Or I think that seems like the most logical way to look at it is that it's that side of the couch is open and free.
Yeah.
Who are they going to put there? Why not give an option or a chance for replayers to possibly fill that spot for
like,
a day?
Yeah, it's like one door closes, another one opens.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, I mean, it's not to say that idea wasn't checked around when they were all there, when Trey and Nolan were there as well. Because I'm sure guests for the Retro Replay Thursday shows were going to happen eventually. But yeah, what an interesting prospect. And very exciting to just see that announced. I was like, whoa, really?
Whoa,
wow,
really?
that's amazing.
Wow.
Like, and I just kind of like immediately thought of the community, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so good for everybody, and like people are going to be involved, and like, how are they going to run a competition like this? Still remains to be seen. But this is just so exciting, and like all of the announcements that they had were super exciting. Beside the announcement, regarding like new shows and everything, the bit of the actual live chat stuff that I really enjoyed was the live Uncle Nolly Knows with Liam.
That was awesome.
Like, it could be an M&M. I died. I was choking on tea. I was dead for a minute. Like, that was the funniest thing. And then the shout out mistake where they got Liam in and Liam had no idea what the fuck they were doing. And
what are we doing?
Oh god. It was so perfect. Just wonderful. Just so perfect. What a good episode.
I think like a lot of people has already like the sort of wholesome like father-son moment as well, like near the end.
Yeah.
And like the mention of like the Lego Star Wars game sort of brought me back to my childhood as well, because I remember playing that with my dad, and I was just like, I relate to this. And it'd be really great to see that, like see how they both sort of interact while they're playing the game, and sort of them talking about the memories and the nostalgia that it brings as well. So I think that'd be a really, really fun thing to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice. I haven't played the Lego Star Wars, but I've played a bit of the Lego Batman with my little sister, and that's quite cool. So it would be cool to see Nolan and Cooper playing a game together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, like, we already got a little bit of Cooper on the show before, so we already know like how he can, be on stage, on camera, whichever. And if they're playing from home, it's going to be extra relaxed, and it's just going to be the two of them just improvising it up and being goofballs while playing a really silly game. Because like Lego Star Wars is super silly, and all the Lego games for that matter, but especially the older ones before they added in the dialogue. Because I feel like the Lego games they lost some of their charm when they started implementing
adding in dialogue.
The dialogue from the movies, because before it was ad-libbed and it was just grunts and noises and things, and they would skew the events of the movies to be more Lego and be more funny and just have these random goofy moments. But now with the newer games, since they take dialogue ripped straight from the movie, they can't play with it as much. They can't alter it the way they used to. So I look forward to them playing, especially like Cooper kind of hinted at playing Lego Indiana Jones, which I'm a big fan of Lego Indiana Jones, so that should be fun.
Oh, that's cool. I
Nice.
I think I might have missed that section. I only saw the Star Wars section, and I love that. I've
Mhm.
played the Lego Star Wars, and not all of them or anything. I can't remember which one. Adam will correct me sometime later if he exists.
If and
But
when he
like
exists.
if and when he exists, when I Google it later and pretend to be him. Yeah, but I have played one, and it's just so much fun. Those games were fantastic. I have played something recently, and like you said, they've ripped like the audio from the film, and it just was
Right.
not as good. And I was like, oh, this was not as fun as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't
like
even remember what it was, but yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
My first
Um,
Lego disappointment game like that would have been Lord of the Rings. Like I was really excited that they were going to do a Lego Lord of the
I
Rings.
think
I
it could
was
have been
so
Lord of the
happy.
Rings.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I love Lord of the Rings. I love Lego games. I started playing it, and it was like, oh, it's got the dialogue right from the movie. I thought that was really cool at first. And then I realized, okay, all these scenes are like right out of the movie. There
Yeah.
wasn't the humor. There wasn't the silliness.
Mm.
There wasn't the improvisation that they do. And I'm like, oh, so I'm literally just playing like Lord of the Rings, the movie, the Lego game.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it
I
must
think-
have been that.
Yeah, I think like part of the charm of like the older Lego games was that it was very much about the physical comedy and like sort of the visuals of what's
It
happening.
was very
and just
slapstick.
sort of, yeah, how goofy it was and how just abstract a lot of the things are.
Doing
And
a
I
little
think-
throwback to, I'm sorry to cut you off, Letitia, but just like a throwback to, I just thought of like talking about like platinums in PlayStation games. I 100%ed the Lego Pirates game on Xbox 360 back in the day, what you would
Oh,
call
wow.
platinum on PlayStation.
Yeah,
It was the only Lego game that I was like, I got to do everything. The game was awesome.
Nice.
and those
Nice.
are grindy games to perfect.
Oh,
They
yeah,
take
like-
forever.
One of the hardest achievements to get in that game was getting like 1 billion studs, to like the in-game currency.
Yeah.
And you had to literally
Oh.
play through the game like a dozen times with a bunch of multipliers on.
My God.
Yeah,
Oh,
That-
sounds too much work.
they're very long.
But it was
You
fun.
committed.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely, Hannah.
Yeah, even I haven't perfected a Lego game, and I've got like a fair number of platinums. But I just don't
Mhm.
have the patience for them.
I don't have
Well,
patience for
since-
platinum. That's why I have the Telltale one. I'm like, cool, great. thanks,
Perfect.
man.
My
Thank you.
platinums are the Telltale ones, I think.
Yeah, just
I
like
think it's
I'll
that and
just.
Lost Legacy.
Oh,
nice.
I've not platinumed Lost Legacy, but I should. And Spider-Man here is an easy platinum as well. The new Spider-Man game, so I'll
yeah.
get
Yeah.
right on that.
I
Yeah.
haven't platinumed that one.
It takes some time.
I will.
It takes some work.
Mm.
It's easy, but it takes time.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's a great game too. So
Yeah.
meh.
So
The
we're
Lost
on
Legacy
the.
is a- oh,
Sorry,
sorry,
I'm
Hannah.
just trying to like move on as far
Move
as
on,
we're
yeah,
already
please.
on the topic of.
Hannah's like,
We're talking about the new stuff that was announced on the show.
Yeah.
So we've already mentioned that that Nolan and Cooper are going to start gaming together. We got the announcement that Liam is coming in with Todd Lasantz to start a show called Get Good, which from the announcement sounded like it's going to be a live stream of them playing
Yep.
modern popular games,
yup.
which is very exciting that we're going to get something a little bit different. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. And-
Agreed. I would
yes.
also say that if anybody wants to see it right now,
They're already
There are-
test streaming, right?
there are test streams on Mr. Smarty Pants, I think. Or is it Mr. Sparty Pants?
I think it's Mr.
Sparty Pants? I'm trying to find the link as well. I'm like, come on, buddy. Do
Well, I
me
can
a
fan for you while you're
favor.
doing that.
I think it's actually on Todd's page. I think it's not on Leon's. I don't think.
Mm.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. Oh, there he goes. Okay. He was not the first person to pop up when I Googled Todd Lasantz. I was like, why not? Let's see.
There are more
Mr.
famous
Yeah, you're right.
Todds.
Mr. Sparty Pants. SPARTYPANTS. Mr. Sparty Pants. And you can have a look at Get Good, where they were playing, I think, some Warzone
Mm.
recently as well. So if you want to have a look at their Twitch, it's live. There you go.
A little insight and sneak peek at that content.
A little plug, which is interesting because if you had been following Todd Lasantz or Liam, I don't know if you I don't know if Liam actually published it though. Do you know what I mean? Oh, actually, he did. The 29th of April. If you're bored during lockdown and want to watch me talk to Todd Lasantz on mobile phone while I install a 90 gigabyte game, now's the time. and he posted on it, and he says hashtag get good. So
Yeah.
he's been dropping hints for
did
a while.
Plug it during that live stream on Thursday. He said, if you guys want, you can come watch us on Twitch as we try things out and kind of beta test.
This is cool. This is very, very cool. Yeah, which is so interesting. Like they hadn't even announced it and they were already testing it and stuff, which is like you would have had an inside knowledge if you were following them earlier.
Yeah. But then again, they probably weren't hinting at the fact that it was going to be like a retro replay property of any kind.
Not at all.
So along with that, they also hinted at a new show featuring a female lead. So a retro replay with a female, which I'm sure Pagan already has someone in mind who she'd like to see.
Yeah. Can you guess? Can you guess?
Is it someone that we mentioned just recently while talking about the subject?
Probably.
Or when we were talking about guests of people we'd like to see come and be on the couch.
Yeah. Right. Heck yeah. Because I feel like if it's not Claudia Black playing Lost Legacy, it should be. PJ and Drew.
It's the only answer.
If it's not that, then get on that eventually, because that would be gold. Claudia on the show was one of the best guests for me. I just thought she was so funny and she riffed off the guys so well that she could handle her own. Obviously, she can handle her own anything, but like she can handle her own retro replay version of that. That'd be so
Definitely.
good.
It would be really cool to have Laura alongside her as well, since Laura was Nadine. So yeah, that would be cool.
That would be awesome.
That'd be really interesting to watch, actually.
And I'm sure like Claudia is really good with not only the wit and the humor, but actually given the banter about the game itself too. So I'm sure she could kind of like fill that void of like, not only is she being silly and making funny comments, but she could also be like, oh, I remember when we were on set that day doing the mocap for this scene, and give us that little insight too. The insight that me and Pagan eat up, that we love, that behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating, like hearing about sort of all these things that happen on set and like how they sort of make the games that we just consume religiously. And like, yeah, as someone who has a film degree, like it's always interesting to hear how they do that with video games, especially the more narrative driven, the more cinematic ones like the Uncharted games. It's fascinating. I love it.
I love seeing all the behind the scenes stuff. Really cool.
Same. It opens your mind to what happened and how it's changed visually. I saw some recent behind the scenes stuff from Resi 3 when Jill, I think, first encounters Nemesis. I think it's Resi 3. And she just like they put up a small, very, very small clip of like the mocap versus like the real what it edited into.
I love seeing things like that.
It's just I love it. Like from what it was, from taking that and like transforming it into gameplay and in-game story and in-game cutscene, it blows my mind. Artists just blow my mind. I cannot understand how that process happens in anybody's brain. So you are all amazing to all the artists that are out there watching right now. You are all freaking incredible, because I have no idea how you do that. But yeah, that stuff is so interesting to me as well, because I'm like, I wonder what it is like to be on a set, to put on a mocap, to put on and to go.
You know what I'm gonna need in the near future is a documentary about how Hellblade 2 was made. I'm gonna need that.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, Ninja Theory, you better be making a documentary.
Make it happen.
They did a lot of documentary stuff for Hellblade 1, and like I was fascinated by all of that, especially the on-stage demos of the facial capture that they did with the actress. Mind-blowing stuff. So I can't wait to see what they're doing with the new technology that they're working with to make Hellblade 2.
Yeah, completely. I would completely agree. And because they made a documentary about Hellblade 1, I'm hoping that that's a strong possibility for the second one. If it's not sorry, going back to your original point about like it being a female-led show, if it is not Claudia Black, and if it's not centered around Uncharted, which I think we've already been hinted at that it was Uncharted, not that like, I mean, Emily could run the show too, Amy could fucking run the show, but if it isn't that, is there somebody that you want to see on the couch that it could be, or that you prefer to have something?
In the female show or just in general?
I'll throw it out in general, but I was talking about like the female-led show. If there's somebody else that comes to mind that I might have,
because we've done that the last few episodes where we asked our guests as far as who they'd like to see on the couch with Nolan.
Oh yeah, with Nolan as guests. Yeah.
That's another really tough question.
I'm gonna make a compilation of you guys going,
It'll be very long.
That's gonna be the preview. It's just
listen, you're making us think a lot. It's late. I don't know,
right,
Hannah.
I don't know.
Okay, so I think like
moment.
in terms of retro replay guests that are coming on that are like not female led show, I think like more of those kind of guests from the dev side would be super interesting. Because I really liked when we had Taylor Kurosaki on and we had Amy Hennig and Neil Druckmann and stuff, and I love hearing all of that process as well from that side of things. And obviously people like Matt Mercer, Laura Bailey would be incredible to have on the show. Even just for, one episode would be amazing. And I am so excited to have Liam on the couch with Nolan. He has such a good dynamic. When they were playing the Uncharted, I was like, this has to happen. Like, maybe it's not even just going to be once. Maybe it'll just be like a regular thing on and off. But like, what a good dynamic.
Cool
I can't
dude.
wait for that.
Yeah. When they were doing the stream the other day, it was like they were bouncing off of each other. And I was just like, okay, this is already perfect. He's already a great fit for the show. So.
Yeah, agree. I'm all for it. I'm
still
on
really
the
trying to
Liam
think.
train. It's fine.
I'm still really trying to think of who else I'd want, because there's so many great people that
we've kind of talked about
narrow it down.
The other one I'd like to see on the show, whether on the couch with Nolan or doing the female possible action, would be Alison Haislip.
Oh yes, yes.
She's the one I'd like to see come back.
That's a great show, absolutely, and especially for something Uncharted centered, because she was an Uncharted nerd, and she is great. She was also one of their best guests that they've had. They definitely loved it. Yeah, good shout.
Yes, I'd actually love to see Ashley Johnson come back, because it's really cool to hear all the Last of Us stories and stuff and see her play a little bit. Not very well, but it'd be cool to see her on the couch.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Anything coming to mind, Letitia?
I think just sort of some other like voice actors in the industry would be very interesting to have as well, because obviously like Nolan has been in basically like every game ever.
Basically.
So to sort of hear like some stories about like how other games have been made would be fascinating, just to sort of see how things have changed over the years as well.
Sorry, her name is.
You gotta Google
right now.
Again.
For some reason, I have no idea why it escapes me right now, but you'll know when I say. Just loading.
Well, I suppose the charts would be interesting to have as well.
Because, Brian and Amelia.
Yeah, because like obviously they stream.
Oh, they already had Brian on
there
before, didn't they? He guessed.
Yeah,
like it'd be good to like
on
have
an
them
episode of The Last of Us, I think.
Right.
Yeah, like it'd be good to like have them back and to sort of have more of that dynamic, like when they were all at MCM together. Like they just worked so well as a team. Like when they did their live stage interview, they all sort of bounced off of each other. And that's a really fun like dynamic that they had that I'd want to see more of.
Yeah. That's a good one. The deck arts are great. They are very good together.
For,
I did. Gina Torres. Anybody know Gina Torres? She's in Destiny.
Oh.
She's like the voice. Now I need to Google Gina Torres.
Gosh, who am I thinking of? That was
she's
really
the most.
Who's the
her
actress?
Voice is just like.
Who's the actress that was in The Last of Us that was really good when she guested on?
Meryl Dandridge.
Meryl, yeah.
Meryl would be great to have back on, actually.
Meryl was hilarious.
So good. Gina was in Destiny. I'll try and see what her character name is. Because I haven't really played that game.
While you're doing that, I was going to say I can segue that into the fact that Nolan also kind of hinted at doing a talk show, like a sit down and chat conversational kind of podcast setting, like he was going to just sit on his back porch there chatting with Liam, where he wants to bring in voice actors and other friends of the industry, talking about like Rob Paulson and John DiMaggio. And oh my God, I will pay you guys all the money for that content to give us
Yes.
like a newer, better version of Rob Paulson had his podcast.
Talking Tunes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the first thought I had was like, this is like a new Talking Tunes. But oh my God, that would be phenomenal to have new conversations with Nolan and just chatting with like big actors within the
Everybody.
video game industry and whatnot and everything.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Because this opens up to everybody, like you say, like Yuri Lowenthal, freaking like everybody, Jennifer Hale, Tara Strong,
The whole Critical Role cast.
Cree Summer, yeah, the whole Critical Role cast, everybody on there. Like, this is interesting. Yeah, I'm down for that content. I'll pay for it. I'm subscribed.
Yeah, they
Yep,
said they're still
definitely.
working out the details of it, but he hinted at calling it like a night at Noli's or something
Yeah,
like
night
that.
at Noli's or something, and they would like record like a Zoom chat together. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Mhm.
Random, but I'd really love to see Christopher Judge on there. Is that his name? The guy who does
Yes. Yeah.
Kratos?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes. Good shout,
It'd be
Hannah.
so interesting, like, and because he's from Stargate, which Claudia Black was also in as well. So
Oh,
that's my
awesome.
inner
Nice.
sci-fi nerd, like screaming at that.
Yeah, that's so
'Cause I
cool. I love that.
loved Stargate as a kid, so when I found out that Claudia Black was in Uncharted, I was like, oh my gosh, my two worlds collide.
Perfect.
Every time we talk about Claudia Black, it makes me want to go back and watch God, the Vin Diesel movie she was in, like the first like,
Chronicles
big...
of Riddick.
No, before that. It was not Chronicles of Riddick.
What?
It was the original
She was
one.
in Riddick though.
God, the one that was before it was Riddick. It was set before. It was the first introduction of Riddick as a
Pitch
character.
Black.
Pitch Black, that's it. Especially
That's
because
what I
it's
meant.
called Pitch Black and her name is Claudia Black.
Yeah, Pitch Black. That's what I meant. Yeah, what a great film, by the way. I
Yeah, I
really
love that
enjoyed that
movie.
film. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if she is actually in the Chronicles of Riddick. Maybe she is, but that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Pitch Black.
Yeah.
And they're introducing Riddick as a character, and it's fantastic. And they're like, this guy could kill you with a paperclip or something, right? And he's got this like bad reputation, and he ends up in like a prison cell with someone, and he's like, yeah, what are you gonna do? And he has like this tin mug. And everyone's like,
Yeah, I
great.
love those movies.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
care what you
fantastic.
think about Vin Diesel, but I love those movies.
I really enjoyed those movies. I feel like that it got a bad rep, but I really liked it.
Pitch Black, I thought was a great like suspense horror movie, like that was like before its time. But anyways, I digress.
We all tangent
Tangents.
sometimes.
I was gonna say, I think we've done quite a few of those already.
Yep.
Let's give a little shout out to Leaf Blower Larry as he made a special
Yes.
appearance on that
Loved
episode.
all of that. All of the riffing live was just fantastic. Stuff that just happened, like the Upside
Uncle
Down
Noli
or
Live.
the
Yeah.
Uncle Noli Live. It's just all of that was such well. You couldn't write that stuff.
Yeah.
It's such good timing, and it brings out the comedian in both of them.
And Nolan's
Him
ability to
as well
improv
as
is just
Nolan.
so immaculate.
It's
Like to
so
roll with the questions
good.
of like Uncharted 5, and he jokes about him just climbing around in his backyard.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did he come up
Perfect.
with that? And then like somebody asked him if he's circumcised, and he's like, well, I'm gonna look for the rest of my penis when I get to heaven. Like, thanks,
Great.
Nolan.
So great.
He's
Love
great.
Is it weird that like my first thought was I want someone to make a Leaf Blower Larry game and just hand it to the guy with no
Not at all.
context.
That's
Just
probably
no
gonna
context,
be
and
made
you'd be like,
out there
what is
somewhere.
this?
Game devs, get on it. Like,
It's gonna have
that's the
to
next
be-
big thing.
It's gonna have to be made by that studio that's making that Power Washer game that Nolan was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes.
I can see the gameplay and see
I
how
could
frustrating
see
it
that
is.
being
You gotta like do the
really-
driveways or whatever, and just before you're finished, I reckon something's gonna happen, and like a gust of wind is gonna come back. All the leaves are gonna go, and you're like, "Fuck!" And then you have to go back and do it. I see it. I see that gameplay in my head, man. I'm not creative, so I can't be like, "Oh, let me just make a game." I just see it in here until someone makes it. Then I'm like,
We know some people in the replayer community that they get on that in dreams. Make the Leaf Blower
Yes,
Larry game.
please.
"Perfect. Make Leaf Blower Larry in dreams, please." Thank
I will
you.
buy Dreams just for that game.
Well, did anyone have any like honorable mentions or last minute shout outs for that episode they want to talk about?
Ooh.
Not really. It's so exciting about the replayer contest, I must say. And I feel like if they need a hand in promoting it through our show, we got you. But as if hey, Retro Replay, do you have any trouble reaching out to the community? No, we have a show on YouTube. Yes. Excellent.
That's
that you do, sir. I'll be over here.
Like I
but
think
how
that,
exciting.
I think like that whole contest perfectly encapsulates like what Retro Replay is about. Because like Nolan and Troy are so connected to the community anyway. Like when you go to see them at events, they talk to everyone. It feels very personal. You know, they know so many of us by name now, and it really sort of highlights that community spirit of things. So I think something like that, it wasn't like unexpected at all. It was just sort of a more of an exciting moment, like, oh, it's actually real, it's happening kind of thing. And I think
it does make me wonder. Yeah, I think it does make me wonder as well, like how long they've been thinking about it and how long they've had it planned. Because for all we know, they could have had this in their head for months. But then again, it could have also been something that they just came up with last week because they thought, oh, that might be cool. After all this Corona stuff is gone.
Yeah, I get you. I think there's a lot of like new and exciting things for the show, and I think you're right that it totally reflects the kind of people they are by trying to get the community involved and stuff. But yeah, I think that's something innately within them. I think like it's in Nolan, it's probably in Drew, it's probably in PJ, and it's definitely in Troy. Like we all know that they are part of a community, and they've always wanted from the get-go to have the community more involved. In that frame as well, we've just come off a beautiful week for Troy Baker after all these announcements and everything, and we've had Breathe come out, which is an amazing community project that was just so incredible that the lovely Hannah featured on. Congratulations. You're welcome.
Oh right, you guys wanted to talk about Breathe, right?
We're just touching on it. It was a great project. It was very nice. It was so nice to be involved together as well, Hannah, because we did the little I had harmonized to your own video, which is so nice. And that was like such a sweet thing for both of us then, and then for Troy to recognize it too, which is lovely. And then coming off that whole community vibe thing from Breathe that has like had 90 plus voices from all around the world from this online community send in voices for that. It's beautiful. He has so cool. Right. What did you do during quarantine? On a Troy Baker song, no biggie. But what I was going to say is like he's now going to branch off into his own channel, which we've all known before, and he's trying to continue with that community theme as well. So I feel like the community here that felt a loss at Troy's absence for the show, I feel like you won't feel that because Retro Replay are actively so fond of the community and continually engaging with the community, and Troy will be doing the same over on his channel. So like there's a lot of love from both entities, and it'll be perfect. Yeah, well, I just thought like it's interesting how Troy's live streams now are going to be community based as well online, and it looks like he may also be interested in live streaming some video games and going to play music and do Q&A and advice sessions, and so it's all community focused as well. So I feel like just to like reiterate, the community has not been at a loss for anything. The community has changed.
Troy given any insight as to what his future projects are?
He hasn't given a title or a launch date, but he says that he is going to do gameplay, music, Q&As, and he wants it to be community focused. I think he also mentioned briefly like about a podcast, but I don't know if that was an idea or some sort of style of video that he'd like to do. And he doesn't want to interview like just famous guests. He wants to interview people that you don't know, but you want to hear their story. Like you should hear their story, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with his Instagram videos that he's been doing, but that's really cool to see what he's working on. I still look forward to see what kind of content he's going to start producing, especially if he's making his own YouTube content like he had mentioned when he first stepped away from Retro Replay.
That's it. And I feel like he has a YouTube channel. It's just Troy Baker. He's
Mhm.
uploaded the video for Breathe. If anybody wants to go see it there, beautiful collaboration piece, fantastic. But yeah, so that is already up there. So I would presume any future project that he's going to be doing, even if they're under different like names, like for example, his Sunday streams are Stripes Off Radio. You know what I mean? Like even if they have little different names, they will be on that channel. I
Mhm.
would presume that
Mhm.
seems to be the reason he created that channel. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of like a watch this space, but like hints, teasers have been thrown out in these live chats, and that's very exciting for the community as well in terms of that.
Cool.
It's like, even though it was sad that he left Retro Replay has so much coming up that we have to look
So
forward to, and Troy has a load of his own stuff too. So
Yeah.
like the community is still there. We're still going to be there supporting the both of them, whether they're doing something together or not. So
Mhm.
there we go.
Yes, it's like they've
Agree.
not like stopped creating things. Like it's
Mhm.
opened up so many different doors for other new projects.
Yeah.
So it's like there's
Right, we're
still
going to
so
get so much
going
more
on.
new content on multiple avenues at this point. So it's like,
Yeah.
can you really be all that upset about the fact that Troy's no longer on Retro Replay?
And I feel like all of these new ideas, like Retro Replay and Red Bear, are just popping out ideas. They're like Night at Nolly's. Cooper and Nolan are going to do a Star Wars show. Liam and Todd are going to do a live show. There's going to be a female-led show. Like they are going to try and bang out content 7 days a week
And they're taking
this.
a lot of influence from us, the replayers in the community. Like they're asking for direct feedback and input as to what kind of content we want, what kind of perks we want, what kind of rewards we want. And they're directly implementing pretty much everything we say to them.
Yeah. And I think like, again, going back to what Letitia said earlier, it's just a reflection of who they are as a channel to be so engaged with this community. Like they're interested in what they're putting out for their audience, and they want to know, which is why they're active on our Facebook pages and on Twitter, and they're tweeting and they're liking Replay content. And you know, they've even asked you, like, they don't have a name for the Cooper and Nolan set yet, so they're asking, you know, tweet the name,
open suggestions.
They're taking suggestions, and I feel like that's such a good thing, because
how awesome would that feel? But if you know,
it'd be
they
like,
take
hi,
the name
my
that
name's
we offer.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, put everything out there, put anything and anything out there, because even if it's not your name, it could spark something for them, because inevitably they could just say, this is an unnamed thing for now, and I'm within a day or two, the community will come up with something because they said it on the show. Like, what is going to happen?
I have to say, I have to mention this now, thinking about that notion of like the fact that when they started talking about Get Good with Liam and Troy, Nolan was like, did we vet this? Did we vet this name? And the first thought I had was like, we say Get Good. We've been saying Get Good since like the second episode of the podcast, joking about
Get
like
good, Pagan.
me being good and telling you to get good.
Yeah, because I suck.
Lion King.
Yeah, everything. But yeah, Get Good is a great one, because anytime I'm doing something, someone's like, just get good.
Yeah. It's such a common like gamer phrase as well.
It is.
Yeah, it's very common.
It's such a great thing, because honestly, I'm not downplaying it. I'm terrible, which is funny in some ways. It's why people watch the Twitch or whatever. Like I'm just terrible at it, and then I panic. And but yeah, like I think it's a nice phrase to pop out there, because it resonates with everybody pretty much in the gaming industry. Because even if you're good at a game and you're introducing someone to it, you're like, get good. Just get good, bro. Do you even lift? You know,
somebody said that in the live chat to Liam when he came on.
Did they?
Does Liam even lift? He's all bulging and stuff.
Like, you're kidding? Liam could probably lift a fucking house. Jesus.
I need to ask Liam what he does for his quarantine workout, because damn, I'm struggling with it.
On that note, there is a Spartacus workout, and I'll tell you this: you can do it with at home stuff. Like you can do it with dumbbells or whatever, and you can do it at home, because Adam used to do it back in the day, like when Spartacus kind of came out, like the original 2 series, the first and the second one, before Liam took over on the third, because Spartacus wasn't in the second one. It's weird. It's like a prequel. Anyway, but yeah, when they came out, they actually did like a little documentary and everything about their workout, and then the workout was actually released, and you could get an app and everything. So if you are actually interested, Dan, I could find it and send it to you. I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere, but so good. Male or female, so good.
Good
Check
to
it
know.
out. Just get good.
On that note,
yeah.
probably going to be wrapping up the show here in just a minute. Last chance to throw anything out there. If you guys had any other comments or mentions that you wanted to talk about from the show, I'll give you one last chance to say it out there before we wrap it up.
I think I just want to say that it seems like really good that Retro Replay now are giving a platform to other creators. So to like Liam and Todd, and then to the female, all the females that they're going to bring in. It's nice that Retro Replay is becoming a platform for other shows and not just like the stuff that they are doing, like with the Uncharted stuff and like the typical Retro Replay episodes.
Agreed.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which is my polite way of saying I don't know what else to add.
Yeah. We concur. We concur wholeheartedly with Hannah's aforementioned statement. Like, thank you.
Perfect. Yes, I know me and Pagan especially are very excited for all the new opportunities that are coming for Retro Replay.
Yeah.
So I think with that, it's a good time to close the show. Get you guys to tell us where we can find you. If you have anything you want to share, anything you want to promote, this is your time to do it. Brag about yourself a little bit. So take it away.
Who's going first?
I don't mind.
Hannah, go ahead.
I'll go
You
first. I
volunteered.
started talking. Okay, so if you want, you can follow me on Twitter. That's at Hanmaread, HANMAIREAD. Have to make sure I'm spelling that right. And then Instagram, Hannah Maread. That's all I got.
And you
Perfect.
can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well at Letitia the Lemon, because I like puns of my name. That's
Alliteration.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Perfect.
LETITIATHELEMON. And you can also find me on Twitch at Letitia Lemon without the. That's a long story why that's not there.
Oh.
Basically, I had that channel and then I lost the password and email address to it, so I had to make another one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Been there. I have another channel on Twitch somewhere that I'm like, that's just floating around somewhere because I forgot the password.
Just like,
Yeah,
But it
what
didn't have
happened to
anything
that
about my
channel?
name in it, so it's like, great. I can still have it.
I had another Xbox screen name that's lost to the Xbox gods for similar
Xbox.
reasons too.
Xbox gods.
Have loads of random like numbers and then like X's and underscores in it.
Oh, you know what
Yeah.
it was? I reached out to Xbox on it, and I was trying to recover that gamer tag because I wanted to have it as a backup still. And they said that I needed to be able to access my email that I had originally associated with that account. And I found out that email address was for an old like cable, like the company that handled my cable internet back then. And it was like a
Oh.
@them.com email. And I reached out to the cable company, and they said they completely dissolved all those email addresses. So that doesn't exist anymore.
That sucks for you.
Wow.
But you can make
God.
another one with some other.
But I want
just
that
make a new
name that I
email.
had, though.
Oh, is that just
So-
like Lost to the Universe now? You can never have that name tag anymore.
Unless they recycled it, I don't think so.
It's
Such
worth
a
a
shame.
shot. Worth a shot. Yeah, such a shame.
My-
But it's worth a
Anyway.
shot. Like, just do it
Yeah.
and just like add a dot at the end or something. Be fine. No one will ever notice.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can find me on
Pagan.
Twitter
Mhm.
at AppleS2 or on Twitch and Instagram at Pagan_plays. Yeah. Or just, the usual. It's in the show notes. So click
That's
there.
Look
Yeah.
there. Yep, you can find me on most platforms as Stark Evil Vash, be it, the Instagram and Twitch and whatnot. But Twitter is a little different because it's silly. It's Stark Evash instead. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You can also find the Replayer Podcast at the Replayer Podcast on Twitter.
That's right. We now have a Twitter where you can
We do.
talk to us and interact with us through Twitter. We're also on
Yes.
Facebook if you would like to keep up with everything with the show there. So lastly, I just wanted to throw out a quick little thank you, of course, to Drew, Nolan, and PJ, and Stephanie, and Paul. Who else am I missing? We need to
Everybody
update our
else on the
list.
show.
All the
Just
crew.
all
of
the Retro Replay crew and cast.
All the
Just
crew
everybody.
of Retro Replay. We can add Liam to that list, I guess.
Liam, Todd, all the Norths. Just thank you.
All the Norths.
All the
So-
Norths.
Without you guys, of course, we would not be here. The Retro Replay podcast, Replayer podcast would not exist. So just a personal thank you guys to us. We try to upload our show every Wednesday. Look forward to us on there. So lastly, just wanted to thank our guests today, Tiny Hannah, Letitia Lemon. Thank you guys for being on the show and chatting with us.
Thank you
And
guys.
Yay.
Thanks a
Thanks for
million.
Thank you
having
for inviting us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks
you're
for having us.
welcome.
And with that, it's game over.